Wow, I mean, during the break, so many people came up to me and started asking me about, how do I buy a house? I'm going to get there. Just give me a minute. I want to buy. First of all, I'm excited that so many people are interested in becoming homeowners. There's a lot of investors I talked to today that want to buy investment property. You guys get it. You get that this is the time to buy. And I understand all the fear you're hearing out there between the news and every time you turn the radio and the newspaper. It's going to be tough. I mean, the banking situation is challenging. A lot of banks are closing, as you know. But if you do these things, you prepare. That's the key. Get prepared and be relentless and persistent. Those are the key because there's so many. It's worth it. It's worth the extra aggravation. I mean, gone are the days that you can put zero money down, have terrible credit, and get a house. Those days probably should have never came around in the first place. Those days are gone. And we know now that was not good for our economy. We know now today that giving someone a mortgage who cannot afford to put a down payment down, have some skin in the game, have some equity, is probably not a good thing. Now, I do realize, and I'm sure you do too, that there were other issues. I mean, the job started to deteriorate. People, they don't have money, they can't pay their house payments, and those two combinations caused the market to really slide, which have created opportunity for all of you. So preparation, you may want to write this down. Preparation is key. You've got to get prepared to buy a house. There's a few things, simple things that you need to know, depending on your situation, if your credit is strong or not that strong, because even the best of credit is tough. I mean, I've met people, I know people, I've done loans for people who have had 800 FICO scores, and you would have thought they had a 400 FICO score. And that's just a matter of the marketplace. The banks are just tight with the cash right now. The money holding on it like it's the government money, and it is. That's a joke. Okay, you're not supposed to laugh at your own jokes, but they're holding on that money like it's the government money. But preparation is key. First of all, you want to go out and get pre-qualified. And you want to go out and talk to a loan representative that can tell you what you need to get a mortgage. How can I buy a house? Before you even go out and look at any houses, because buying houses is emotional. You're going to find something, or your wife's going to find something that you just love, but you know what? You can't afford it right now. So get qualified, and that'll really tell you what you can afford. Like, listen, we should be looking in these neighborhoods for these price points, these type of houses. Get pre-qualified. Now, what is your banker going to look for? They're going to be looking for income, your credit, your saving patterns. Not just that you have money in the bank, but that are you a saver? Do you have the saving habits? Do you have reserves in the bank? They're not just going to stare at your credit and look at it. So this guy's got great credit. He can pay or she can pay the loan. They look like a nice couple. They're going to really, really, really analyze every aspect of that loan application, of that transaction. Now, one of the things the lender's going to look at is your debt to income ratio, which cannot exceed 28/36. What that is that your house payment cannot be more than 28% of your income. And your house payment plus your debts cannot exceed 36% of your income. And that includes taxes and insurance. I'm going to say that again. So if you bring in $1,000 a month, your house payment cannot exceed $280. You got that? And that includes taxes and insurance. I gave you a real simple example because, my math sometimes without the Hill and Packard calculator I can't do. Real simple example. And your house payment plus your debts cannot exceed 36%. That's rule number one. And if that happens, if that's the case, you got to find something cheaper. Or you got to put down a substantial amount of money. Now, a few years ago, we had lenders who were raising debt ratios up to 50% of your income. 50% of your income could go to making a house payment. 70% in some cases. Oh, and they got rid of that. Buy. The market got hungry. They just did stated loans. Well, listen, we're just going to write a number in here and say your income is this to get you an house. And we've seen what has happened. We do not want to relive that environment. So debt ratio is important. You want to be on your job at least 2 years, a minimum of 2 years. The more the better, in the same line of work. Now, if you've been on your job 1 year, but you've been, say you're a nurse and you went from a hospital to the hospital, but you moved into the same line of work, that counts. That's okay. But a minimum of 2 years. If not, you need to write letters to why you've made changes. It's not going to be good because, you know, the banks are real nervous right now. They want to see stability. They want to see that you go to work every day. You're going to be there for a while. So you got to remember the guy that's sitting in front of you on the other side of the desk is thinking, will this person be on this job for X amount of years? Because they're not basing that long on today. They're basing it on the next 15 to 30 years. So you want to really show that you're going to be in that job. Or if you're a professional, like say you're a lawyer or a doctor, you know, they're looking for professionals that are going to be around. I'm not, you know, school teachers, firemen, you know, laborers. This as long as you're going to be in that job, on that job for a while. Now, credit. There was a time when credit was like, you know, negotiable, where you can write a letter and say, this is what happened last month. I missed my payment because I mailed it late, or I forgot to make the payment. You want to really make sure you're taking care of business with your credit. Pay everything on time. When you get your mind ready to buy a house, start paying things early. And you want to have at least a minimum of 3 trade lines. 3 trade lines, that means you need to have at least 3 open credit, maybe a credit card, car payment, maybe a personal loan, a minimum of 3 trade lines. That's very, very important. A minimum of three trade lines, we call them in the business. You want to have those open for a few years, making payments. Even if you pay them off, if you can afford to pay them off, do not make minimum payments because that creates a track record. Every month you pay those. You may even want to go out and get another credit card and open it up and borrow against it. Even if you can afford to pay it off every month, don't. You want to create a track record, and that will help your FICO score or your credit score. So credit is very, very, very important. I remember when they converted to credit scores, I didn't like it because it took the personal out of it. Because things happen. You know, bad things happen to good people. And I just couldn't stand it. You couldn't write a letter anymore. Once they look at that score, 500, no. 700, yes. That concerned me. So pay attention to your credit. Some of the things you can do if your credit is a little on the fence, call your agencies and say, hey, listen, I'm getting ready to buy a house. What do I need to do to improve my credit score? Or there's items that may show up on your credit report that are not yours, medical bills, things of that nature that are not yours. Have them removed. That will increase the credit. And most lenders do not look at medical bills. So if you got medical collections and things of that nature, they will shy away. They won't look at those. They will not take a look at those. So you wouldn't have to worry about paying those off. But anything that you have on your credit is not yours. You definitely want to write the credit agencies first. Write them before you even have a lender pull your credit, because when you pull your credit, more often than not, the score will go down.